Hey everybody, so this is what Deku was immortal slash Lucifer part 1. Now, basically, this is what Deku was immortal, but Deku's gonna have the personality of Lucifer Morningstar in the Lucifer TV show on Netflix. So let's get started. So Deku is born not in the tragic, upbringing of quirks. Deku's actually born about 5 years before the, World War One. Deku is immortal. By the time quirks arrive and the time Deku's supposed to be 16 in canon, Deku's technically about hundreds of years old, or even thousands of years old. Now Deku was born from nothing actually. Deku was told by his parents that he was found in the woods. A fire ring was around you, and you had red eyes. We thought we didn't really know that much about you, but we did take you in and foster you. Deku was raised by that, but Deku grew up outliving his parents, outliving his friends and family. And eventually Deku just got bored of it and just shut off his emotions. Not really thinking about it anymore. Deku did kill over his centuries of immortality, and Deku also developed a lot more powers. Deku was born with wasn't really born with a quirk at all. But when Deku was about 150 years old, Deku saw that it was a person in the world. Deku saw the first person with a quirk. Because at that time, Deku was a nurse. Deku had a lot, and I mean a lot of jobs in his life of immortality. Deku developed so much, and Deku knew everything about life. Deku was the smartest man on Earth because he lived so long, gathering so much information and knowledge around the world. Deku did travel around the world thousands of times, back and forth, because his immortality. Deku got bored after a certain time of immortality and tried to kill himself after his lover, Jezebel, died when he was about 100 years old. So Deku tried everything. Hang himself, decapitation, guns, Russian roulette, everything. Deku tried every possible reason, every possible way to kill himself. He even jumped off a roof. In the 2000s, Deku even jumped off a roof, drinking bleach while he does it. Deku even jumped in the mouth of a crocodile. Deku tried every single possible outcome of killing himself. Even tried to give himself cancer. Deku tried everything. Eventually, never did anything because Deku always popped back. Deku even disintegrated himself, but he just came back. So Deku just spawns back. Deku also has a bunch of other powers, like superhuman strength, agility, speed, and reflexes. Also, Deku has great, and I mean 20/20 senses. Deku can hear perfectly, see perfectly. Deku has incredible taste. Deku senses are off the charts. Deku also has the ability to pretty much, see people's darkest, deepest fears and bring them to life in a form of an illusion. But that illusion can only work on Deku, so Deku becomes their worst fear. Deku has a sort of shapeshifting quirk, per se, or shapeshifting power. So, while Deku uses his shapeshifting power or sees if somebody's afraid or not, his eyes will glow. Deku also has a sort of a weakness to holy water. Deku actually tried to drown himself in holy water. His skin did get burned, but he never really died. He does hurt like hell, like he's jumping in a boiling pot of water or acid, but he never dies. It's kind of like an endless loop. Eventually, that holy water did simmer down, and after all that boiling, it did evaporate away, but Deku did get boiled in holy water for about a month until it boiled away, and Deku swam out of it. So Deku only knew one way. Deku actually drank holy water and eventually gained a sort of invulnerability to it. Deku wasn't fully invulnerable to it, but if Deku got caught off guard, if someone slipped holy water in his drink, Deku could get hurt just a little bit. But yeah, after all of his lives and his immortality, Deku eventually pretty much just lost hope and just wanted to lock himself up and try to, carcass himself, like chain himself to the bottom of the ocean, just jump off. But before that, Deku did realize something perfect. He witnessed the evolution of quirks, and Deku had a reason to live. Maybe if somebody had an immortality quirk, and maybe Deku was the first quirk user. Now, one of Deku's powers are technically a quirk, and Deku is actually the first quirk user ever to live. Older than All For One, older than that kid that can glow, older than anybody in the world. Now, after that whole entire, pretty much, intro of his life and how his immortality worked, Deku was pretty much walking down the street, and Deku does a lot of jobs. Like, Deku was an assassin for a short amount of time, until his boss passed away. Deku also was a swim instructor. Deku did a bunch of jobs. Name it, he did it. Name anything, Deku did it, except, prostitution. But yeah, Deku did a lot. And I mean absolutely so much. So much jobs. Deku even did jobs that didn't even pay because they just seemed interested in him. Deku tried out everything. Every drug, every drink, everything. Every, thing. Pretty much Deku knew about everything in the world. Deku was walking down the street about the same year that Deku was supposed to be born, and he saw a kid throw an explosion to another kid. Deku didn't think about it that much, but a couple years later, Deku was in his house, and Deku lives inside of a pit house. Deku's pit house is really big, really good. Deku was sitting in his living room drinking some, you can just think about any alcoholic beverage, Deku probably drinking it, because Deku's alcoholic. So Deku's drinking, and he gets pretty much an email by one of his old friends. Now, Deku's old friend, by this point, he's like 69 or something, and he says that pretty much Deku did tell his, old friend about his immortality, and Deku doesn't know yet, but he can turn other people immortal. But let's get in that later, okay? So, after that email from his pretty much friend telling him about the entrance exams, Deku does get excited because this is actually the first entrance exams that he can probably, get into. So since Deku at this point still looks 16, because Deku ages just a little bit, but not to the point. Deku stops aging by about 20 or 19, but Deku at this point, in pretty much looking, Deku's already like 1,000 years old, but Deku does still look like a 16-year-old. In about 50 more years, Deku's gonna look like 20, but yeah. So Deku gets up from his room, pretty much grabs pretty much a suit, a black suit, looking exactly like the suit he's wearing right now, and walks out of his house with one of his jackets on him. So Deku goes to the entrance exam, and he starts. Deku was running and running. The entrance exam, walks to the gates, and he bumps into a girl. A certain girl kind of similar to him. Not really, a demon per se, but he does bump into a girl called Jiro. Deku does have a familiar see-through, because Jiro does look like one of his previous lovers. But Jiro is just the woman that Jiro reminds him with is pretty much just a one-night stand woman that he loved, but she didn't love him back. So Deku just shrugged it off and walked away from pretty much Jiro after he bumped into her without saying a word to her. Deku was walking and walking, and eventually he got to the practical exam, and they started. President Mike explains everything, and Deku was sitting in his chair, about to take out a cigarette. But Ito was about to say something, but Deku looked at what Ito was afraid of, and shapeshifted into Slade, staying with a knife up against his throat. up against Ida's throat. Ida was pretty much sweating to the core and was terrified. Eventually, Ida pretty much blinked, and Deku was back in his seat with the cigarette gone out of his hand. Ida was shocked and said, "I must be going crazy, something." Deku was smirking at this, and pretty much President Mike finished the whole entire thing, and everybody got started. President Mike says, "Go," and everybody ran, and Deku was just walking. Deku walked into the ring and saw everybody going at it with robots. Deku saw a robot coming behind him, but Deku pretty much took his hand and rammed it right into the robot, obliterating the robot. Everybody saw how strong Deku was. Now, Deku is God level strong. God level strong. Deku's like stronger than All Might slash Superman slash Homelander slash pretty much any person with super strength in Marvel Comics, DC Comics, or any superhero movie. Deku can rip a roar. Deku can crush the world if he was at the size of Galactus. Deku is incredibly strong. Deku pretty much just slapped and flicked away robots, taking them out side by side, just eliminating people out, just getting so many points that Deku, at this point, President Mike wanted to, pull out Deku because he just got way too many points. Like, he got higher score than All Might did. At this point, Deku was walking, and he eventually saw the Zero Opponent Robot. Deku didn't know that much about the Zero Opponent Robot, so he just put up his hand and did the same move that Deku did originally with One For All, but just with his normal strength, flicking his fingers with all that wind pressure, coming straight towards the Zero Opponent Robot, blasting it straight towards the Zero Opponent Robot's chest, obliterating the Zero Opponent Robot. Deku was smirking at this, and everybody in the stands, the heroes, were going crazy, going like, "This kid is that strong? My goodness, this kid could be stronger than you, All Might." All Might was smirking at this and said, "What? Who is this kid? Should I give my quirk to this kid? I'm giving second thoughts about Mirio." So Deku walks off after that, and a girl with brown hair gets up, pushes some rubble off of her, and looks up and sees Deku walking away. After that, the pretty much practical exams over, everybody gets sent back home. Deku's in his penthouse, going through social media when he gets an email that a package that it was delivered to him. Deku goes to his front door, opens it, and sees a package there. Deku opens it, and there's a note saying that he got a DUA. Deku opens the package, a disc comes out, and blah blah blah. Deku got a DUA, and all that other stuff. Deku goes to UA the next day, walks in class one day, and sees all these young faces. Deku smirks at this. Deku sits down in his chair, about right next where Bakugo is. And Bakugo looks at Deku with a smirk and says, "So who are you?" Bakugo does seem something off about Deku, because Bakugo did see Deku while he was bullying that kid. Deku does realize that it's the same kid that was bullying that kid in the alleyway that he saw a couple years back. Deku eventually sees a girl walking in class, and he gets a flashback about, well, Catherine. I don't even know, Elena, Catherine, Jezebel. I don't know. The previous lover I said that made him go over the edge to try to kill himself, and that girl looks exactly like Momo, the previous lover that he loved the most in his whole entire immortality of his whole entire lifespan. Deku saw Momo, and she looked exactly or like his previous lover that he loved so much. Deku was determined to pretty much get that girl and pretty much fall in love with her. Deku just forgot about everything about his past lover and just, fell in love with her. Eventually, the brown-haired girl walked in, and Deku realized that she looked a lot like Deku's second lover after he moved on from his first lover that made him go over the edge to kill himself, or try to kill himself. So, Deku saw two beautiful women that remind him of two beautiful relationships that he had in the past, and Deku was determined to get both of them to fall in love with him. So, Deku, after that, was about to get up to talk to Momo and Ochaku, But Ozawa walks in class and explains to the class they're doing quirk assessments, and they go outside. Deku's kind of angry by this, but they go outside, and Deku's told to throw the ball first because he got the highest score. Deku grabs the ball and chucks it so hard that that pretty much the air around Deku's hand pretty much catches on fire, making a stove effect of heat around the pretty much premises where Deku is. Ozawa was pretty much shocked that Deku gives off a warm breeze of air when he throws it. And the ball goes straight into the sun. Like, the ball goes straight into the sun. Ozawa is confused, but also really, really impressed. For the long jump, Deku aces it with just one, little hop. The race, Deku dominates everybody with just... It starts off with Deku putting his feet right in front of everybody when the race starts, and it ends with Deku just appearing at the end of the pretty much race. Everybody's confused at how Deku moves so fast. For the grip test strength, Deku gets 100. He pretty much dominates it. They had to get a new machine because Deku crushed it. So, yeah. So, the entrance exam was kind of delayed a little bit because Deku did break the grip test machine. So, after that, Deku gets first place, Bakugo gets third place, and Todoroki gets second place. Everybody gets told to get their syllabus, and Deku does stay behind just a little bit. After Ozawa tells Deku that, I have a little proposition for you. How about, and Deku stops him right there and says, I'm not interested, and it walks off. Ozawa gets a little angry by this, but just shrugs it off because he's way too tired for that. So Deku's walking, and he walks up behind Ochaku and says, hey, and Deku pretty much says to Ochaku that you're extremely hot. And pretty much just pulls on a bunch of really old pickup lines that actually do work still to this day. So, Ochaku does blush a little bit, kind of gets a little bit of a crush on Deku. Deku does say that maybe tomorrow I can maybe get your number. Ochaku stops and gets out a piece of paper, takes out a pen, writes down a number, and gives it to Deku and says, call me, and walks on the bus. Deku smiles at this and says, wow, that was easier than I thought. So, after that, Deku pretty much super speeds instantly to his penthouse, putting the number onto his refrigerator, going to his bed, his silk bed. Let me show you what Deku's bedroom looks like. I forgot to show you where Deku lived. This is where Deku lives. Now, I'm just making Deku rich because, well, he had a bunch of jobs and Deku's set for life, so Deku doesn't have to work a day in his life anymore, because Deku got so much money over the centuries and years. So Deku's extremely hot. I mean, extremely rich. Deku has 2 houses, actually. This is Deku's first house built in Japan. This is Deku's house in America. So yeah, Deku has 2 giant houses. And let me show you, Deku owns 2 cars. Deku owns this car. Deku owns this car, this red Lamborghini. So, pretty much knowing after seeing how rich Deku is extremely rich. And Deku has a huge vault at the end of his Japanese house that looks like this. This vault is pretty much the inside of what Deku's vault looks like. Deku has a couple 100 gold bricks, but yeah, that's basically it. So Deku's set. Deku is rich. I mean, like, super rich. I ain't joking. Deku rich. Like, he got that cash, got that flow, he got that money. So, after showing you everything that Deku has, let me show you what Deku's bedroom looks like. This is what Deku's bedroom looks like. So, yeah, Deku's pretty loaded. So, after showing you all this, Deku goes to his bedroom, pretty much sitting there, looking on his phone, about to go to sleep. He goes to sleep, and after that, it's the next day, and I'm going to leave it off here, guys. See you guys later. If you like this what if, give me a like, or just share it to other people. So see you guys later. Bye.